Hello and welcome back to my channel, or if you did not know, my name is Robin. So today I am going to a book signing and a book talk, which it's been ages since I've been to one. The Juno Dawson one was the last one that I've been to, and so I'm super excited because I have mentioned this author before. In fact, I mentioned her in my last video, and that is of course Alison Rumfitt. So Tell Me I'm Worthless came out, I want to say like last year maybe, or the year before. But it is a super incredible, gory, disgusting trans horror book, and it's really incredible, and I genuinely can't believe that I today have the chance to go and meet her, because genuinely one of my favourite authors of all time from this one book alone. Her new book Brainwyrms came out like the 5th of October, I believe, so it is a couple of days after. And I did not pre-order the book because I will be getting my copy today and I will be getting it signed, and hopefully I can get this signed as well, but we'll see, because different places have different rules. So I'm very excited. It is happening at Blackwell's in Manchester, and it is actually a sold out event, which is crazy. And in fact I had to be put on a wait list to be told about tickets because I had missed them completely. But thankfully I did end up getting someone's ticket, so whoever dropped out, thank you so much. You really saved my life. But I'm super excited, and yeah, let's get into the video. So my plan was to make 2 separate videos. One was going to be a signing travel vlog sort of thing, and then the review. But I've read the book already, so we're just going to go in with the review. I devoured this book in a day, and maybe I should have took the advice of Alison Rumfitt in this book, and maybe I should have gone out and gone for a walk and touched the grass before consuming all of it in a day. I didn't listen, and so that was my own fault. Before I dive into the review, I just have to say that the book event at Blackwell's, I've never been there before. I live in Manchester and I've been to many of the bookshops around there, but I've never been to Blackwell's before. And it was really incredible. It's such a gorgeous and incredible place. I feel like I have to go back because it's really beautiful, and they put on such a great event. Alison Rumfitt was super lovely. She signed both my books, so I got my Brainwyrms, and I was a little bit cheeky. I took my Tell Me I'm Worthless book as well. She signed that for me as well, which is so lovely. She was in a bit of a rush, so there wasn't like a lot of time to talk with her, but she was very lovely. The talk was really great and I really enjoyed the event. It was really such a lovely night as well, so yeah. it was a good time. It was a good time had by all. If you don't know, I have been really excited for the release of this book. Tell Me I'm Worthless is one of my favourite books of all time. This is just an absolutely incredible horror story, and I really think that Alison Rumfitt, including both of these books, is really pushing the genre of horror, especially in the modern day, and so I have nothing but love for Alison Rumfitt. So when this book got announced that it was coming out, I have not stopped thinking about it since, and I'm so glad that I have read it. This book follows 2 characters called Frankie and Vanya. Frankie was in a terrorist attack when a TERF leaves a bomb in the gender identity clinic that she works at, and of course Frankie is not handling this event very well, as she's using sex, she's using drugs and alcohol to sort of just try and make her day feel better, because on top of this she also has like the onslaught of transphobic media that is like vulturing the story basically and saying things that are just frankly vile, and this sort of follows her around as well, so she doesn't get that peace from being a victim from this. Frankie meets Vanya at a kink club, and Frankie becomes very drawn to Vanya. Frankie and Vanya end up going out, and they have this like sub-dom relationship, and we find out a lot of Vanya's secrets throughout the book, which threatens to sort of tear them both apart from each other. This is a very basic like overview of what this book is, because I don't think I could really go into full detail of what this book is. This book is filled with gore and scenes that are there to make you feel sick, and there were a couple of scenes that did make me feel quite sick after reading, and I had to put the book down for like 10 minutes, you know, scroll TikTok and then come back to it. There's even a bit in the book before a really gory scene where Alison Rumfitt herself breaks the fourth wall to tell you to like touch grass before you end up reading the scene, and I didn't listen. And it's quite a gross scene. This book is social commentary on being a trans person in modern day Britain and how dangerous it is for trans people to exist in this environment at the moment. The brainworms in this book are a physical depiction of transphobia, so people who are rotted with transphobia have worms coming out of them all over the place, and it's a very grim and very descriptive description. I know that's a shit way of putting it, but I think it's very, very on point for what transphobia for people looking on the outside looks like, because transphobia is a very brain-rotting disease. This book showcasing transphobia in this sort of like brain-rotting, like physical depiction is sort of like very on the nose. If you have no idea what's been going on, well, for this last couple of weeks for trans people in the UK, it's been a fucking horrible time for literally 0.4% of Britain is trans, and you know, we have a failing government that is using them as a scapegoat for their own actual issues. And although transphobia harms everybody, it especially harms that 0.4%, which this year alone, transphobia hate has gone up by 11%, which again, for the minority that it is, it's fucking crazy. And as somebody who is under the trans umbrella, I am non-binary and my partner is trans, is a very terrifying time for us to live in this country. To bring it back to the book, very necessary to say, but to bring it back to the book, it almost felt quite comforting to read this but in a really fucking horrible way. It's quite a comforting quality to the book that shows the UK and its shitness reflected, basically, and it just felt like a oh don't worry, everybody else feels this way as well. Hug your trans friends, trans lives matter, you know, help them out. If you're coming in as an Alison Rumfitt fan who has read Tell Me I'm Worthless and is just excited for the next book, I want to tell you that Tell Me I'm Worthless and Brainwyrms are very, very different books. Brainwyrms is very different in the storytelling method. Alison Rumfitt's storytelling in this book is not linear, what makes it very hard to talk about the book as an official review as well, which might seem why this review is quite patchy. But we have multiple POVs in this book. We have multiple Vanya POVs, we have her entire childhood, and we get that sort of sliced in between different chapters. We have Frankie, who is our sort of current day anchor to the story and the main sort of linear storyline going across, but we do also get a past POV of her in this terrorist attack as well. We also get minor characters that we only see for that one particular chapter have a POV, which sort of shows this transphobia, these brainworms in motion as well, and what that looks like. So it really adds many elements around this book of what transphobia can manifest as and what it looks like. Might be very jarring to some people, I completely understand that. This book is 290 pages long, and on top of all of those multiple POVs, we have fourth wall breaks from Alison Rumfitt, and we also have 2 chapters, I think, which are like a Curious Cat, and if you don't remember Curious Cat, it was like an Ask FM, like anonymous ask sort of website that you could ask people things. And we get a newspaper chapter, which is a newspaper article about the bombing as well. I can understand, and I think the main criticism I've heard from a lot of different people is that all these multiple POVs are very, very jarring. And like I said, with a book so small as well, it can be a bit of a slap in the face going back and forth from all of these multiple POVs. I really think that this adds another element of depth to it. This is just my personal opinion. I've read like very jarring like books before. I've read multiple POVs, non-linear books before, because reading this book is a wild roller coaster of a ride. But I think it really adds to the story because I think it shows the multitude of different ways transphobia can be shown or like depicted, basically. But I also completely understand it, because even to me there was points where I had to reread a couple of times just because like it is very jarring to move these through these non-linear scenes, especially with the topics being discussed as well. It depends on the person. I personally, I wouldn't say enjoyed it, but I understand to why it may have been used as a storytelling technique. And again, if you're coming from Tell Me I'm Worthless, which is a quite linear book, and we do have flashbacks into the past of the house's history, but we have a linear storytelling ghost book basically. Brainwyrms is insane a little bit. It's just filled to the brim with gore, and once you get past a certain bit, it's insane. It's an insanity to read. Like, you think that it's quite slow in the beginning, but it really picks up on the second half of the book, and that's when you just get hit with everything. It's very difficult to discuss without discussing the contents of the book, but I don't want to do that because it's a lot. Very cynical, very dark, very it's not, I wouldn't say it is a fun read. Like, you don't go through this read and go, wow, I'm having so much fun reading this. Like, you sort of like hold the book about this far away and think, what am I consuming the entire time? This book will not be for everybody. Even people that liked Alison Rumfitt's first book, this book will not be for everybody in that category as well. Although I've seen it compared to this book a lot of times, I also thought this when reading it, but it's also very interesting because the author of that book is also featured on the front page, giving, I can't remember what it's called, but like, you know, giving a word on this front of the page. But things have gotten worse since we last spoke. I have spoken about this on my channel. I have a review. I didn't really like the book. It was shit. In my personal opinion, that book was awful. This book feels like what that short story was attempting to do. We have similar discussions on parasites. We have similar imagery, I guess, around parasites that are included in Things Have Gotten Worse. This was like a 5-star book for me, but Things Have Gotten Worse was like a 1.5, so obviously this pulled it up a lot better. But it's interesting to me that the author of that book has a foreword on the very front of the book, and that may just be because of the parasites, because not a lot of people are talking gross ways to ingest or have parasites inside of them and want that, but here we are. If I had a nickel for every time someone said that they wanted a parasite inside them, I would have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, you know? This book, again, read the trigger warnings if you are interested in reading this book. Yeah, if you're curious at all, please read the trigger warnings because it is full to the brim of transphobia, parasites, worms, like a lot of things that I can't mention really because of the content and also the spoiler that I will say if I involve it, which has haunted me for days basically. It's haunted me ever since I read it. But I gave this book a 5-star. And although I love both of these books, Tell Me I'm Worthless is definitely still my favourite out of the 2 of them. I think that Alison Rumfitt is pushing the horror genre, and I think that her writing is really incredible. But like I said, although this is a 5-star book for me, I understand that it's not like Tell Me I'm Worthless. It's very, very different to this book, in fact. And so I can understand if it's not your cup of tea. Yeah, I think that this book is a really, I would say like incredible, but it's a strange read. It will make you sick. I would put this book down at some point and go for a walk if you need it. So yeah, if you love extreme horror, if you love gore, if you just want to be grossed out, or if you are also really angry at the transphobia that is going on at the moment and wants to feel like somebody else feels that pain, this is the book. This is the book for you. So thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, I had a great time seeing Alison Rumfitt. It was really such a pleasure. Let me know what you think. Have you read this book before? Have you read Tell Me I'm Worthless? Let me know your opinions down below. And if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff, and I shall see you next time. Bye!